back to the Six Rings Kane show. Joined today by the Five Reasons crew. It's us, baby. The Wolf Pack.
The big
Uh,
three.
the big three coming at you here Wednesday night on the Five Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. Like the show, and obviously donations are always welcome as long as Vish has put up the donation thing. Um, look
I can
Man,
help too if needed.
you're asking me like I know what that is. All I know is Chug My Beer is here, and he's been able to donate in the past when I did stuff. So
Oh, look!
I'm
I
just
didn't
gonna,
even I
I'm
didn't
just
even
gonna,
know
I'm
that.
just gonna.
Here we go. Hold on.
I definitely our
Boom.
number one fan. I don't think we can deny that.
Yeah, I think Danny turned it on. He turned
All
it
right,
He
on.
did.
good.
So
All right, there we go. All right, all right.
awesome, man, awesome. Hey, we got it's a fun show. Look, last night I was on Max's show, Maxed Out with Flo, and Chris from Kane's Insight, and of course Max. Awesome show, man. And they brought up so many good points and so many things that obviously I wanted to talk about tonight also. It's pretty apparent that I think that um, a lot of Kings fans, and I put this, I put a poll up last week after the game, and I know Danny saw it. I'm sure Vitch, you saw it as well. And it's unbelievable how everybody's kind of changed their tune on this whole thing, right? And what I'm talking about obviously is the quarterback situation, right? We're obviously seeing TVD, Tyler Van Dyke kind of just grow and flourish right before our eyes, game after game after game. You see him start to get better, right? And
Mhm.
obviously, you saw he kind of put it all together for the most part last weekend against Pitt, which was really nice to see because obviously we needed a kind of game. We needed that kind of game from him. I think the only mistake he made, which really at the end of the day, it really wasn't his fault. He had two receivers that slipped on the same play that he probably was looking at both. Obviously, he looked at the first one who slipped. I think it was Rambo, and then down the field, I think Mike Harley slipped. So, aside from that, man, it was a great performance by him. Great performance by the University of Miami. For the most part, I think we all can agree that the defense still has, you know, a lot to be left desired out there on the field. Again, breaking more records as they gave up the most passing yards ever by a University of Miami football team. I didn't even know that until last night. Also, so it's over 500 and something yards, 500 plus yards to a quarterback, which was the most that they've ever given up. Also, so obviously there's some work to do there. But at the end of the day, we all know that in college football, if you don't score a lot of points, you don't win anyways, right? So it's fun to see what the offense is doing. And I kind of want to get going on that right there, right then and there. I really want to talk about Tyler Van Dyke and this offense, right? So, and I'll start off with Vish on this. Uh, just tell me what you've seen, Vish, from the development of Tyler Van Dyke from when he first got the nod as a starting quarterback to now.
So to me, the biggest kind of upgrade I've seen from him is just the accuracy. He was kind of erratic, especially in the medium game. Early in his time starting, and he is now just his completion percentage is through the roof now. Like he was missing easy throws at the beginning, and that's kind of the biggest thing. It's probably just confidence in the offense now. He's just comfortable getting the ball out on time because those short passes are all timing, and I think he's gotten more comfortable. He's gotten more accurate. He's obviously got the big arm, and all of that plays into it. But he's yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is just the accuracy on the short to medium passes. That he's hitting basically all of them, and that's kind of opened up the deep game as well now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely one of the things that I noticed. And again, Chug Mabir. We're gonna get to that question in a second. We appreciate the love again. We'll put it
Yeah,
up. We'll
absolutely.
put it up in just a second. I want to get your take, Danny, really quick on what you're seeing, not only from Tyler Van Dyke, who's a New England native, your boy up there,
Hmm.
representing New
Hmm.
England. But also just the way the offense has been playing lately, right? The last two or three games, we've seen that. Okay, we went from well, this is a terrible start. We're starting, and Van Dyke. I think that's the biggest thing for me. By the way, that's what I mentioned is he's starting to start faster now, right? Whereas the jitters were getting to him before. So what have you seen in his progression and the progression of the offense as a whole?
Well, it's been encouraging to see for a couple of reasons. For one, we're seeing development in real time, and that's going to come with its ups and downs and bumps in the road. but we're beginning to see a confident quarterback. He's kind of shaking off the rust and shaking off the jitters and the nervousness. The offense as a whole, I think, has really responded. That's another thing. Having been around several college football teams before, we had to change quarterbacks sometimes, and one of the biggest things I would look for would be how would the offense respond. And I think the offense has responded really well. And this bodes well for the future, too, right? Because you think about De'Ara King as the full-time starter, how would that affect the development of the backup quarterbacks? Now you can develop Tyler Van Dyke on the fly here, getting game action while also preparing for the future. So I think it's been really interesting to see. I obviously expected some jitters early on, but he's really kind of put it together and shown that he is certainly, a viable. We talk about Jake Garcia and what he brings to the table. Tyler Van Dyke is not going to go away quietly in the quarterback race.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's my thing, right? Like this is now Tyler Van Dyke's team, right? I mean, we can talk about Jake Garcia until we're blue in the face, and I'm
Right.
sure that he's going to compete next year for that starting position. I just if this continues, this progression of Tyler Van Dyke's, kind of play on the field, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it every single day. Like the confidence is growing, right? Trust, and I mentioned that last night also. Trust to me has been the biggest thing. I think at the beginning, before they gave the reins to, and believe it or not, before they gave the reins to Rob Likens to start, kind of drawing up more plays in the passing game. I think that uh, I don't know if it was just Coach Lashley, if it was Manny Diaz kind of saying, "Yo, pull the reins back." I don't, I don't trust this team with with Van Dyke at quarterback just yet. Then you start to see him make the throws, these elite pro type of throws, pro quarterback type throws that, let's be honest, you're not going to see. You wouldn't have seen De'Ara King throw, right? You
No.
wouldn't have seen De'Ara King make those passes. And the poll was, who now seeing the sample size that you've seen from Tyler Van Dyke, who do you want to see as your starting quarterback? If all things were equal and De'Ara King was healthy, would you want him back in the lineup, or would you want Tyler Van Dyke? And I think that after the game one or game two of the Van Dyke era, people were still talking about, well, we're playing with a backup quarterback, and we all can notice that De'Ara King is the real quarterback here. He's QB1. Now everybody, fans are starting to change their tune now, man. They're starting talking about, well, hold on a second, no way, man. It's Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, no doubt about it, right? And I think that we've all talked about how he's a gunslinger. He's got that gunslinger mentality. He makes really great throws in tight windows. But now, as Vish mentioned, it's his accuracy, man. His accuracy has gotten so much better. His timing, his confidence in making those throws, right? His ability to not throw the ball 100 miles an hour on a 4 yard out route, right? And I think we talked about that a lot before too. We spoke like, hey, this is crazy, man. He's making, and then balls are tipping off, bouncing off of guys' helmets and stuff like that. He's now starting to settle in and starting to take full command of this offense. And I love to see what he's doing. Make no mistake about it, man. That first touchdown throw that he made to Elijah Arroyo, I know he only caught one ball, but you better watch out with Elijah Arroyo, because if he gets open, he's gonna find them. Tyler Van Dyke is gonna find them. That ball, if you look at it from behind Tyler Van Dyke, there's traffic everywhere on that throw, and he makes a money throw, and he rifled it in there for that touchdown. So just plays like that. I mean, the touchdown throw to Keyshawn Smith, where he was off balance and still threw a great ball. I mean, so many throws that you saw throughout that game that you're like, wow. I mean, De'Ara King's not going to make these throws, and this guy's going to push the ball down the field now. So I'm really excited about that. And then the offense. I mean, I think it's a different offense with Jalen Knighton in there. Also, I don't think we talk enough about how he's touched the ball. I think it's over 65 times in the last 3 games, and he's got over 600 yards of total offense already for this team. And the 3 or 4 games that he's played, that's big, man. That's huge, and it's not all running the ball. He's dangerous out of the backfield, catching those little dump off passes, because we saw it last week that he took one to the house again. So I mean, the whole offense is playing much better. The offensive line, give credit to the offensive line. You know, Ja'Kai Clark has made a huge difference on the offensive line. Um, he's light years better than Corey Gaynor. I hate to say it, but he is. Okay, so he's commanding that offensive line now. Zion Nelson's starting to play a little bit better. Um, and to be quite honest with you, I think the run game, you're starting to see that from the run game as well, and that's what's opening up the passing game. So big credit to that offense. We'll talk about the defense now, and I want to put this up. Chug Mabir, appreciate the love. Let's go with this first question. Vish, if you could pop that up there. So here it is. Much love to Chug my beer. Appreciate the love again. The Diaz defense is in the Canes history books for giving up the most rushing yards, 550 plus against North Carolina last year, and now has given up the most passing yards, 570 plus in school history against Pitt. Fire him. I mean,
that's not a question. That's a very definitive statement right there.
I mean, yeah, right? I mean, yeah. And so this is the question for both of you. All right, because I got asked this question. I think everybody continues to get asked this question. Can Manny Diaz do anything to save his job? If he runs a table, even if he runs a table and wins the ACC, somehow gets into the ACC championship game, wins the ACC championship game, not will he, because we all know that this administration is all types of screwed up. But in your opinion, should he be saved, basically? Should he come back and coach again if he does all those things? I'll start with you, Danny. We'll go around the other way.
I'm going to say no, because we see a lot around college football, right? These coaches get this key win, and then they stay with the program for another year if they're on the hot seat, and then it goes back to, Groundhog Day, same story, different day the following season. So Manny Diaz could have a good end to the season, but I really do think it's time for a change. I mean, it's not about, you always hear it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. But the slow starts to the past couple seasons have really kind of put Miami in a bind. And we saw, and I feel like we were talking about the same stuff last year too. Slow starts, looking unmotivated. Then you have Manny Diaz, basically lying to our faces about, decisions he made. I mean, sure, he can have a good end, but I think it's, time for a new direction for this program and consistency for this program.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he should have already been fired. One of the problems you run into as an administration is when you don't make that decision when you should have. Now you've introduced all this crap. Like, we're playing better. That ball we fumbled at the end of that game, if it rolls back another foot, what are we doing? Are we talking about how we blew the Pitt game? Like, I mean,
Yep.
So, and just like if Borregales makes the field against UVA, we're like, everything's great now, we won. No, it's still the same team, and we need changes. And I tweeted this out during the halftime of that game. Manny Diaz should be fired for hiring a bad defensive coordinator. It just happens to be him. Like he looked at a broken defense and thought the only way I can fix this is to fix it myself. And you know what? It is horrible. To me, that's fireable. Like I don't understand how he's justified doing that. One of the other things that frustrated me, I tweeted this out as well, is no one really asks him about the defense because he's also the head coach. So he gets all the head coach questions like, what's the program doing? How are things progressing? What's the team's attitude? How come no one asks him like how he's planning on fixing this defense? It is awful. And we have a lot of young guys that are starting to make plays on the defensive side of the ball. You're seeing certainly Williams and Kinchins, and then you're also seeing Leonard Taylor when he's in there flashing.
The tackling's gotten much better, right?
The tackling's has gotten much better from can't tackle anyone. But it's still not like if a normal team tackled like that, I don't know that everyone would be saying, oh, great job. It's just like we're literally the worst tackling team in college football, so we make tackles like, oh my God, we tackled a guy. You're supposed to. Like that's the basics, right? And so as much as like we had those two huge interceptions, those were two hugely terrible plays by Pitt's quarterback. That first one, he has a touchdown, and he threw it to the wrong receiver. The second one, he just missed. It was wide open too. I mean, those were our two biggest plays of the game defensively. Easily could have gone the other way, and that's fine. Like, when you get in a close game, you'll get a break or you don't, and that often decides it. But the difference the last two games is we got the breaks. NC State dropped the big pass. That guy was running for days on their last drive, and he dropped it. It was us dropping the pass in the previous game. That's why we lost versus winning. So while the tackling's gotten better, the team, certainly Van Dyke, is putting together complete performances that we haven't seen in a while throwing the football. Like, I can't remember last time I had a quarterback throwing this well. So, like, you're seeing a lot of progress, but overall, like, we're in these tight games. And the only way like we're actually going to elevate the program is when you start blowing people out. Because if you get into these close games, you can lose on a fluke. Look at Oregon. Their loss was the official called a BS pass interference against them. But you shouldn't have gotten into a close game with Stanford in the first place.
Right.
Right? And we're in a close game every single week. And so sometimes that, it's going to come up tails again. We're going to lose. And it's not good enough. None of it's good enough. And if we're just playing results out, you're never going to improve as a program.
Well, you mentioned this. You mentioned this a lot. You're not a good program, and if you're in a 50-50 game every single week, right? If you're in a 50-50 game every single week, where it could go one way or the other, and it's not a resounding win where you've dominated a team, even a good team, and you win by a touchdown or 10 points or 14 points, things like that, right? Where it's not being decided by a bad call or a field goal that hits off the goalpost. That doesn't mean you're a good team. If those things go your way, that's how football is, right? Like you put them against a team that against a team like Michigan State again, and those things are not going to go your way.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we had
they're going to blow you out.
Yeah, we had 2 games against teams that are ranked in the playoffs right now and got blown out twice. Every other game we've played other than Central Connecticut, which was a blowout in our favor, has been a play here or there. App State, all the way through all of our conference games, they've all been. We could have won all of them or lost all of them. Like it's been that close, and it's really just like a play here or there. So it's really been tight there, and frankly, our record's probably reflective of the way we played. Which everyone's feeling good because we won 2 games in a row. We're 4-4. like the results are there. I agree with Gary. Like making result-based decisions purely is bad. You got to look at the way the team's playing, but the results are crap. Like you can't just ignore the first 6 games and go 2-game winning streak. Everything's great. Like no, we're the same team that played those other 6 games too.
Yeah, I don't know if we're the same team. Right, we have gotten better. I think that the same team gets their ass kicked in these games that we played, the NC State game and the UNC game and even the Pitt game. I think that team gets their ass kicked. Doesn't mean that we're a great team or a very good team. Have we gotten better? Sure. Hold on. The offense has gotten better. Therefore, it's giving us an opportunity to win. But if it was the same offense, if we were struggling, if we weren't scoring points, if we were making bad decisions, if the play calling, the execution wasn't there, we'd be a terrible team. Now we're just an average team. We're a good team. We're a half decent team because our offense is good, right? And it is. Our offense is good. It's 36, I think, total in the country, 17th in passing. So, listen, have they made improvements? Yes, and you got to give credit to some of the guys. I mean, whether it's Coach Lashley, whether it's Hickson or Likens or whoever it is that you want to give credit to, the offense as a whole started to play a lot better. The execution's there, and I think it has to do with the trust. I think the trust factor is huge. I think they're starting to really understand that TVD is, he's the real deal. And I don't know if they had that type of confidence in him, before. Which, I mean, I get it to a certain degree. He's a guy that's never played college football before. You're going to throw him out there, and you may not want to throw the kitchen sink at him, right? But they started to realize that he can handle it and he can do it, and you're starting to see the results kind of play out from an offensive standpoint.
So it's definitely I would definitely agree it's better. I don't know if it's as significantly better as we perceive. I think the results just make a lot of it feel better. Like we scored more points against North Carolina than we did against Pitt, but we lost that game. So like this, and it was all. I think the order of operations matters. We scored 21 points like the first 10 minutes of that Pitt game. Scored 17 the rest of the game. We scored 7 in the second half. But if we had done it in reverse, we would have been like we blew the first half again, then made a comeback, right? It's not that, but this is where the eye test matters, right? You can see that they're playing better across the board. We had some drives that didn't pay off in the second half, where the first half against North Carolina, we didn't even move the ball. So until that last drive. So like, you can definitely see there's been improvement. I feel like if we play another like actual like really top quality team, we're going to see the same thing that Alabama and Michigan State did to us, because there's just too many holes. There's too many mistakes. You mentioned that Van Dyke interception. I don't fault him. I fault Donaldson for false starting on a short yardage where we easily would have gotten the first down, and then we have to throw. Obviously, their field is crap. We had people fall down. But you introduce that when you make that mistake. You cannot false start in that situation, right? We just make so many mistakes, and we're able to overcome them because the offense is playing really well.
Right.
But they're still there, and if you play a better team, they'll kill you for them. Like, if you play a better team, they're going to kill you for that busted coverage, not throw it into double coverage. And I know Pitt and North Carolina State are ranked. Like, the entire ACC is basically the same team.
There's a lot of parity.
It's just like the gap from the top team. I think Duke legitimately is trash, but the rest of the conference, like the gap from like the lowest team to the top team, it's there, but it's not that large.
Yeah,
you're gonna end up in competitive games.
Even Wake Forest, who's 8-0, and everybody's talking about how they hung 70 on what was it, Navy or Army, one of those teams. Yeah. They also gave up 56 points in that game.
They did.
So it's not like they're not beatable either. I mean, they've listen. Hats off to them. They're actually playing really well. It's a good team. Sam Hartman is a hell of a quarterback. I will say that they're playing really well. But you're right, Avish. Like the difference between them and who would be the second team right now in the conference? I mean,
I think we just beat them, but
we beat them, right?
Which is fine. But I honestly, honestly, if we played Wake Forest, like I'd give us a shot. Like I wouldn't think that we wouldn't. Yeah, I mean I guess that's the point. If we played the top team in any other P5 conference, there's no way we're winning that game. Yeah, like if we played Oregon or we already played Alabama, played Georgia, like Oklahoma, like you don't think we're gonna beat those teams?
No.
Maybe Cincinnati. I don't know. Maybe Cincinnati.
Yeah, maybe. I did say P5. So
P5, all Oklahoma's defense sucks too, so I don't know which one's.
You could get into a shootout. Although I feel like Lincoln Riley will pass out from scoring so much if he put his offense against our defense.
Oh man! Look, Gary brings up. I want to talk about that, right? This last comment that he made, but haven't we gotten better because they were forced due to injury to play different players? Look, yes. I don't know if it was necessarily injuries. I just think that pressure also got to Manny Diaz and the staff and said, hold on a second, man. If we don't start playing, first of all, if we don't start playing these young guys because these young guys are threatening to leave, or even worse, if we don't start playing these guys, we're going to lose our jobs. We're going to lose our ass right now. Yes, injuries had, of course, De'Ara King. I mean, it forced you to play TVD, of course. Bubba Bolden finally. Said he was playing with a torn labrum for 3 or 4 games, which is ridiculous to me. I mean, of course his play is going to suffer, but I just don't think he was all in anyways, right? I just don't think.
I mean, he started the season by having one of the dumbest targeting penalties you'll ever see. Like, you're right, his head wasn't in it this year.
Is that what
he shouldn't have come back, basically.
I just don't think that, regardless of whether he tore his labrum or not, he just wasn't the same guy per se that you saw in the first half of last season. So for me, I think it's a mix of injuries, but it's also a mix of pressure. And I hate that that's what had to happen for Manny Diaz to make a decision, to make a change, because a head coach should understand that and should see that ahead of time and say, hold on a second. I just brought in the number 1 defensive tackle in the country. I brought in the number 1 safety in the country 2 years in a row now. And these guys are sitting on my bench, and they're not. Hey, do you have a ghost in your Vish over there?
I don't know what just happened, but we're still on.
Wow.
So.
Okay, so I mean, paranormal activity. Right here on the 6th.
I am like less than a mile from the White House, so I don't know what's going on.
Well,
we have a little bit of everything here.
Hold on a second, Vish. Are you the designated survivor?
I might be. I'm in charge now. All right, we're getting a new coach. That's the first thing I'm doing.
Oh man, that was awesome. I saw it. I was like, okay.
I saw it too. I was like, is it just me? And then when you guys reacted, I was like, at least I'm not seeing things.
Yeah, no, I thought Vish. My first thought was, okay, he's got a timer, right? Like he's got a timer on his lights, and then I see your face, and I'm like, he doesn't have a timer on his.
I was caught as off guard as the rest of you were. So
that's awesome. That is the best thing I think that's happened on this show right there. Is just like a little phantasm there, a little phantom.
Little ghost.
A little ghost action. I like that.
Get the 80 first. Yeah, I think we're all on board with that. Regardless of what you think of Manny, I think we all kind of know what the idea is.
Obviously, there's been rumors about Him already understanding that he's going to be replaced, and whether it's for football or whether it's all around, you're starting to see all these things come out about this huge fundraiser that they're putting together, right? What is it, $2.6 billion fundraiser, and that he may move. I mean, there's so many things out there. Nothing is for sure. There's obviously a lot of noise, a lot of smoke, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, there's not going to be real change here until he leaves, right? Until Blake James is gone. That's just the bottom line. And at this point, to be quite honest with you, I even think that Julio Frank is. I'm not saying he's a problem because he just really doesn't care, so he's not a part of it, right? Like he's not involved. But at the same time, like the school's suffering also. I mean, it's not like the school's getting any better from a what you call it from a standpoint of academics, right? From an academic standpoint, they're not getting much better either. They're actually getting worse. So, I mean, all around.
So this is where I agree with you. Julio Frank does not care at all about the athletic program. I'm curious if he wants to be popular. Because you could easily just whack Blake James, and it's just like everyone would be like, "Great job, Julio." His popularity, it's such an easy win for him because he doesn't have to care. Like, I'll fire this guy, hire a real athletic director, and then like if he has like an actual athletic director that everyone knows and respects running the athletic department, no one will ever ask him a single thing about it. Like, no one will care.
Right.
Gary's right. He screwed up the academics. My question is, how political is he? And does he want to like just get an easy win with everyone? Because firing Blake James will help him immensely in the popularity department.
And listen, from what I understand, the guys that they're looking at to come in and replace him, they're going to want to change a lot of things, and and I think that because Frank doesn't really care, I think they're going to be able to, which is good. They're going to be able to do whatever the hell they want. Money is not an issue, but at the same time, I think that I don't know if maybe when they bring them in, do they hold on to some of these guys that are on the staff now? Do they give Manny one more year? Not necessarily do they give him one more year to prove himself, but do they give him one more year so that they can kind of kind of look at everything and analyze everything again and see what's really broken, being in there every day and understanding, what the culture is like, what's going on in the program, not only in football, but obviously in baseball and basketball as well, and all the other sports that are struggling. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
I will say, I want Blake and Manny gone, but I think a new athletic director and Manny around for another year is probably a win for us on balance.
Yeah.
Because at least you'll have someone in there that's properly evaluating the performance. Because we don't have that right now.
Right. Exactly.
And so as much as painful as year 4 Manny Diaz will be, at least you'll have that there. And I think overall that'd be a win for the program long term. But obviously I think it's best for everyone if we just blow the whole thing up. It's not bad. It's been 15 years. Like, I don't know what we're waiting for at this point.
Yeah, it's not like it's been a few years of crappy football. So, again, we'll see. I don't think there's going to be any changes. I don't. The only way that I can see Manny getting fired now before the season ends is if he gets completely blown out in the next game or two, right? That's the only way I can really see it. If they lose like 58-0 like they did at Clemson, like something like that. I just don't see it because the team's fighting hard. They're battling. They're playing hard. They're playing for each other. I understand that. And the 2021 class loves Manny Diaz right now too. So
yeah, I guess the one thing I would say to that is
I just don't see it happening.
Is they're if they're to lose to any of the teams left on the schedule, it's a bad loss. So it's another bad loss you're going to throw onto there because Georgia Tech, Florida State, Virginia Tech, and Duke are not good. So this is not like if you lose to Pitt or NC State, they were both ranked at the time, as much as it would have added another loss to ledger.
By the way, Miami has, as of right now, the toughest schedule in the country. They've played the toughest schedule in the country, which is crazy. I know we don't think so. We're like, oh, well, we should have beat the crap out of those teams because we were good enough to. I mean, we thought we were good enough, but we've actually played the toughest schedule in the
Yeah, I
conference.
think I think that a lot of I think Michigan State and Alabama are doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Sure, sure. Well, I mean, look, NC State was ranked when we played them, and so was Pitt. So
Right.
that obviously
But
played
I
it.
guess my point is, and Gary brings this up, the other thing I have to put in here, I don't know about lose by 20, but you lose to this FSU team.
Ugh.
I
Ugh.
mean, all
Ugh.
the you thought it was bad after the North Carolina game.
Did they win this weekend? By the way, FSU?
No, they lost
They
to
lost.
Clemson.
Okay.
But if you lose to this team, like, I'm sorry, like, it's gonna get so disgusting out there. Like, and then the best record you can finish with is 7-5. Like
Oof.
that, you got 7-5 with the loss to like the worst Florida State team we've ever seen. I think he's gonna be in trouble again all of a sudden. Like as quickly as he's kind of rehabilitated himself, you lose any of these games, it's a bad loss, and now it's a 5-loss season. Like he's in trouble. Then I still think. I think he almost has to win out because then you're talking about 8-4, which is still not good, by the way.
No,
But
no.
8-4 with a 6-game winning streak, I think he'll obviously keep his job at that point. But if you lose any of these other games, then
You
you're
gotta win a
seven and
bowl. You gotta
five.
win the bowl game, man. You gotta win the bowl game.
I mean, for our standards, yes. For this administration standards,
Yeah, no shit.
no. You might get a contract extension if he goes 8-4. Who knows?
Well, I don't think you'll see this administration there. So I think that if that happens,
Well, then I think if someone new comes in, then it's really like who? What are their options? If they know they have like a proven elite coach, I think he's dead anyway. Like you're not gonna sit here and be like, let me give Manny another year if Mario's like willing to take it. You're gonna
Right.
get Manny the hell out of here.
Right.
Well, let me
Right.
ask you that really because I want to finish with kind of looking at Georgia Tech and the Georgia Tech game a little bit. But you brought up a great point, right? Who's coming in next? We were talking about it yesterday, and I want to bring up one name that continues to be brought up, and some people are like hell no, and some people are like hell yes. But and I kind of want to talk about this. Jesus Christ, a freaking uh, the speaker. The speaker. I have this surround sound in my living room, and it's going off right now, and nobody's fixing it. You hear it?
We cannot hear it, but I'm
Oh
just
my
gonna trust that you're also getting invaded. So,
Yeah, it's
Danny, you gotta hold it down for us.
Perks are working from home, right?
Yeah,
Perks are working from home.
it threw me off completely. So I'm sorry. The name that we keep hearing, and Daddy, I want to talk about this and get buried on the head. You're a Northeast guy. You kind of see him coach a little bit as Greg Schiano. I keep hearing his name pop up. A lot of people keep saying that his type of culture, his attitude, the way that he runs a program. Obviously, he doesn't get the necessary, support and stuff at Rutgers, but he's the kind of guy that can come down here. He's going to lay the law down. People are not going to like it. Okay, they're not going to like the way he, Flo mentioned this. They're not going to like the way he interviews. They're not going to like the way that he talks to people. And he's an a-hole, right?
Yeah.
Is that the type of culture that, first of all, a new administration will bring in, possibly? But second of all, is that a name that you can kind of see coming back down to Miami and coaching down there?
I think you're right in the sense that not a lot of people will like him due to his nature of being tough, but he does expect a lot out of his players. He expects his players to be disciplined, and several of the players that he has coached have gone to the NFL. Now, in the sense that we want Miami to win, sending players to the NFL does not really matter a whole lot, but when Bill Belichick drafts Rutgers safeties and Rutgers players, it seems like every draft you're doing something right, and it starts with discipline, and it starts with his ability to kind of get the most out of his players in terms of potential and things like that. And Schiano worked with Belichick, I think, for a year on the Patriots staff, so he's kind of familiar with like you probably have heard about the Patriots all the time. Do your job, discipline. Bill Belichick takes no crap, and sure that would be a tough style in this day and age of college football. But with the athletes that Miami has and sort of the lackadaisical attitude that we've seen over the past, I'm not going to say over the past couple of years, but over like this season in particular, Schiano would be a good guy to try to stabilize the program and get the most out of his players, because this program is too damn talented to go 7-5 or 8-4 or whatever. We should be, in the upper echelon, not fighting for the bottom tier.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like he's another guy that when we mention Rolodex, when we mention experience, past experience at big programs, he has stops at Ohio State. He had a hell of a coaching staff, and I didn't know this,
Yep.
right? When he was at Rutgers before, PJ Fleck was his wide
Yep.
receivers coach there. So he has guys on his Rolodex that he might not be able to get at a place like Rutgers just because they don't have the support or the money to get those type of guys there. But big name hires, if money is not an issue, could he possibly come down here and hire the right guys and get those big name guys, from his Rolodex that, he might quite possibly might have just as good a Rolodex, if not a better one, than Mario. So, I mean, is he the type of guy that could come in here, change the culture, and win? Vish.
And
Yeah,
I will. Go ahead, Vish.
No,
Go ahead.
Danny.
And I will say this: PJ Fleck just got an extension from Minnesota, so there is certainly a blueprint with Shiano coaches and the way Shiano himself coaches that seems to be working. Because if you can take a program like Minnesota, who is known for their hockey, and turn them into a very good football program, PJ Fleck is doing something right, and I think it all kind of goes back to his Shiano coaching DNA, if you will.
Vish.
Yeah, and I also I think the Rolodex thing matters a lot. This is a guy who's been an NFL head coach. It's really important if you want to attract top assistants that they really, I know this sounds stupid, but buy into the fact that the head coach is more qualified to be the head coach than they are. And that's not the case for a lot of like high level assistants. If they look at someone like Manny Diaz,
That's a good point.
that's not even in question when you have someone like Shiano. This is a person who was an NFL head coach. The second thing is he's obviously familiar with the school since he was defensive coordinator here. And the best thing is if we're losing a game at the end, the other team's trying to kneel it, we'll start a fight. So, you get some entertainment out of that. 'Cause he still does that. I watched the end of their game against Michigan when Michigan was trying to kneel the ball and his defensive line was trying to start a fight. So he still got that going. But more seriously, we'll be tougher. His team's always tough.
Yeah.
And I think that's something this program probably needs a shot of after kind of the Manny Diaz, let's just say, laid back approach to discipline.
Yep.
So if Shiano overkill, potentially, but I think we need to go that direction. And if you look at the stage he's at in his career, I do think if we offered it to him, he would take it. Unless, like, if he ever wants to win anything of note, he has to get out of there. He can do a great job at Rutgers. He can't even win his division in the Big Ten. So, like, the best he can do there is, like, go to bowl games. So if he has any aspirations beyond that, and at the age he's at right now, he's got to move. So I think if we came in and offered it, he would take it.
How old is Shiano now? He's got to be pushing almost 70.
I'm gonna look.
Old,
Let's
right?
see. 55. Hold on a minute.
55?
Yeah.
55. Wow, I thought he was a little
55.
bit older.
And the
Yeah,
only thing,
Go ahead, Dan.
the only thing I worry about with him is that his style may rub some of the younger players the wrong way, and with the way the transfer portal seems to be, the hot ticket to trying to find some place better to play. In theory, would we lose current players that have talent, and what kind of talent would Shiano and the rest of his staff be able to bring in? Would it be better than the players that we could potentially lose? Is what
I
I'm
think it's
trying
going
to
to
say.
happen. I think it's going to happen regardless. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter who
true.
you bring in here.
Plus, you got to set
But he's
the
going to bring in
culture.
guys that can recruit. He's going to
Yeah.
bring in guys that
Plus,
can
you got to set the culture when you're
Yeah.
within your program, and the people we attract now, they might be turned off and transfer, because look at what we're selling. We're selling turnover change and touchdown rings
and
and
NFTs.
and NFTs and social media stardom. We're not selling football, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so, some of the people that we've recruited that have committed here, that have come to school here, are going to be turned off by, frankly, a shifted approach, and that's fine. If you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. But if you think like Nick Saban or Kirby Smart or any of these guys are being buddy with their players, they're not. Those players go there to win. They don't go there to be friends with the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, we're just going to. It is going to be a tough transition for a lot of these players, because I frankly wonder sometimes if our current head coach is more interested in being people's friends than being their boss, essentially. So,
Right. Yeah.
so I think I agree with you. I think we will see the portal get full of our players.
But we're also gonna get full from the portal as well.
Yeah, we'll be able to
looks
bring
like-
people in that are like, this guy's been in the NFL. If I can get even like if it's a senior, if I can get a year under him, this is gonna help. Like you're gonna have some in and out, but overall, we gotta change the culture of this program. Like the stuff that we deem acceptable now just isn't.
Yeah,
And if he's the guy to do that and it ruffles feathers, great.
Do you think that even if we're up 2 touchdowns and we score another touchdown, do you think there's going to be one picture taken on that sideline after they score a touchdown?
Hell no. Hell no.
Okay. Someone told me, I posted about it. I go, we were up 2 touchdowns when Van Dyke and these guys were taking pictures with that ring. And I'm like, can we please stop with the damn photos on the sidelines, even though you're up 2? And the guy's like, oh, they're up 2 touchdowns. Let them have some fun. And that is the problem right there with this program, that people are saying, oh, let them have some fun. No. Go kick their ass and continue to score more. Forget about the damn pictures. There's enough pictures that you can take with your mama later on after the damn game.
Yeah,
winning is fun.
Yeah, winning. Not only is winning fun, like, I think there's this, like, myth about, like, the teams from the 80s and early 90s that obviously were famous for, like, frankly, maybe a little over-celebrating. They were up by like 60 points. They used to kill everyone.
Yeah.
They weren't up like a touchdown on Pitt in the first quarter and like doing the George Jefferson. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like that Cotton Bowl game that everyone like knows about against Texas. They won that 46-3. That's when he was shooting off the guns. Like what like they kicked people's ass and then they told them about it. They didn't like, take a photo and then like lose to Virginia. Like, what are we talking about? And even, like, I've tweeted this out during the game, too. Like, every single time one of our defensive players makes a tackle, they start flexing. Like, just go back to the huddle.
Yeah.
Like, McLeod made that sack, flexed, and they double-team blocked him on the next play, blew him out, and ran for 30 yards. I'm like, yeah.
By the way,
They showed you who had the muscle. It wasn't you. Like,
best game Zach McLeod's played
Yeah.
defensive end this year.
And it's not even, but it's just like, I just feel like we're so focused on, I mean, this is like an old thing. You guys are too young to remember this, but when Bill Walton used to do, like, NBA games on NBC, and like,
Vish, how old do you think I am?
I don't know, but you're definitely not as old as I am. So,
How old are you, Vish?
I'm 40.
Oh, I'm 38. So I'm
Right in there. So maybe you remember this. I don't know if you remember.
I'm 26.
By the way, yeah.
Well, then get out of here, man.
I gotta let the seniors have their time now.
Did you see Bill Walton on game day? Oh Jesus, get that guy off the TV.
Well, anyway, he used to be like one of NBC's lead crews on the NBA games. Every time some player would do something like fancy and like screw up a layup because they were trying to like do a reverse, he would go, "Never let the show get in the way of the game." And I feel like we're always letting the show get in the way of the game. Win the damn game first, then have fun celebrating because you won.
Absolutely.
And don't celebrate in the game, then lose the actual game, like, because you were focused on other stuff. And definitely, this is being pushed from our school, like this whole like make sure you get in front of the camera so we can tweet this type of crap is not coming from the players. The players are participating in it, but that's what when I talk about program culture, that's what I mean.
That's the biggest issue right there. The next 4 weeks are going to be interesting to see what pans out. But well, let's kind of before we go, let's just talk a few minutes on Saturday's game. It's at 12:30 against Georgia Tech. Different Georgia Tech team, obviously, than we've seen in the past. No more wing T. Paul Johnson offense anymore, right? No more option quarterback and things like that. But they still got some pretty good playmakers. Listen, they put a hurting on that UNC team that beat us. So they've got some guys that can play. Primarily, Jahmyr Gibbs, which is their running back, their top running back. The kid is very good. He's a very good running back. And then Jeff Sims, who can do some things with his legs, and obviously we have issues with guys that can run a little bit. So. It's going to be interesting to see if Miami kind of regresses or if they continue to play with this momentum that they have now. What do you expect to see from this game, Vish, against Georgia Tech?
So they're
a bad Georgia Tech team.
Yeah, I know. I think they're like 3-5 or something, but they've been very up and down, like you said, like that. They blew out North Carolina, and then they've lost to Northern Illinois. Like they've been all over the place. So. Their big thing this year has been turnovers. Like, they turned over a ton, and we definitely benefited from that against Pitt. Like, if we can force turnovers, we'll probably be in good shape. But even that they lost to Virginia, they scored 40 points. We all know what our defense is. So I expect them to be able to score. To me, if we can force some turnovers, we'll be all right. I saw the line was 10.5. That feels high. Just because like we don't beat anyone like that, so I don't know why all of a sudden we're. But I do think we'll win this game. I think we are a better team than they are, but they do have good performances in them, so it's definitely not like a pushover.
Yeah, is this a game, Danny, where you can kind of see a letdown from the offense as well, just because they're on such a high now from their performances the last couple weeks?
Yeah, they like to call it, a trap game, and I'm not going to say that Miami's going to definitely lose this game, but there is certain situations where you just expend so much energy after playing a big game, then the next week you come out kind of flat and may end up losing the game. So for me, I think Miami needs to come out firing, and they need to, stay focused throughout, because Georgia Tech does have some playmakers. You mentioned Gibbs, and even Jeff Sims. He's not the greatest quarterback, but he can make some throws. So I think Miami's going to have to certainly not treat this game like a walk in the park, and especially after the emotions of the last couple weeks, they need to make sure they take care of business if they want to, make a bowl game or control their destiny later on.
Yeah, and Gary makes a good point, right? Like we just played 2 ranked teams. We got FSU next week, and like right in the middle, you got this 12:30 regional television. It's not even on a real network game against Georgia Tech. This has all the makings of oops.
Gary, listen, if we're looking ahead to anybody, we got a serious. But we shouldn't be looking ahead to anybody, man.
Are you new here?
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable that we're looking ahead. I get it, but Jesus Christ.
It does feel like one of those that the 12:30 regional television ACC game right before Florida State. It doesn't feel like.
That's gonna be. By the way, I'd like to mention something, Danny. I don't know, Vish, if you noticed it, but he looks like an angel today. He's got that halo.
I know.
I have very bright lights. I do.
Right above your head, though. He's right. It's like a silhouette.
You're looking straight out of a soap opera, man. You know how everybody has a silhouette in a soap opera?
Yeah. I mean,
days of our lives over there, man.
Hey, at least I can see, and it's better than the time the power went out that one time. Remember that? That was awful.
Or the ghost that's in Vish's house.
Yeah. Hey, I'll say this for your lights: they stay on. So
look, here's the thing: we got the angel over here, and we got paranormal activity over here. So I mean, this is interesting.
and then your surround sound coming in the back.
And
so we're all good.
And I have aliens, right? I have aliens in my house. Thank you guys for coming on the show, man. It was fun today.
Yeah,
Gary,
absolutely.
Chug Mabir, everybody who kind of joined. We truly appreciate it. We'll be back on the air next Wednesday. Hopefully after another win, because we do still want to see them win, because I don't think it's going to change the outcome of this staff either way. So again, thank you guys. Make sure you tune in on the Fivers in Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe to us there. Give us a thumbs up, and we always appreciate everything, and all the listeners and all the fans as well. So thank you guys again, Vish, Danny. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.